Who are these people like here?
Hey guys, it says we're live. Okay, there we are. It says we're live. I'm gonna take off my glasses so they're not distracting. If you can see in the background, we got this little guy here, and behind us, there's people in there. You can see Mark's shadow. He's trying to put some curtains down, and they're inside. So,
a little less light.
yes. If there's a way you could clip the two, but
I can try.
well, because there's one white streak. It's not terrible, but it might be on your face. You can go get a thing. Okay, he's gonna be a little loud. It's okay. Oh, we got one person. I was just gonna say there's nobody here, and then we got a person. We got a person. Who's the person? Mark's trying to clip the curtains, and he's getting it. Okay, that's better. Yep, you see a Josiah back there. Hello, Lila. Good to see you. Getting ready for bed over there in Norway. We are going to have a Uriah waking up in a little bit. This time,
I'm gonna take this down so that the light isn't there.
This timing for us is nap time at our house for the 2-year-old and this little guy. But this little guy takes shorter naps unless somebody's snuggling him. And I guess I wasn't snuggling well. Yeah, my phone doesn't have a lot of charge, but I put it there. So we try to guard nap time pretty well for our little people. They really need it. And so during nap time, usually our older kids listen to an audio drama or something like that, a debate, different things. And then the little kids will play cards together or do puzzles, draw pictures. They're about to paint some pictures right now. Or, oh, actually, I think there's an Uno game going on in the background. So that's what's happening at our house. And I laid down with them today because it's just been a really busy couple days. I don't know if you've been seeing our Facebook feed, but we had carpets done. What?
All I can see is that the windows are dirty. That's the only thing I can see.
The windows are dirty.
Because
okay.
I'm the clean freak of the house. That's okay. We had all kinds of stuff done this week.
Yeah, we had carpets put in, and Mark built bunk beds with the help of other people. Mark used to have his own carpentry business and did really, really good carpentry. But with the brain issues now, he sometimes forgets. Do you want me to switch over a little bit?
Yeah, let's switch you over. So people can see you.
There we go.
There she is.
So Mark used to do a lot of carpentry, and with the neurological conditions now, he has a hard time thinking through things. So
planning is hard.
I'm not super good with numbers. Mark's really good with numbers. I'm not terrible with numbers, but Mark just rattles off numbers. I'm like, wait, you got to write those down. You got to figure those out. What he used to be able to just do in his head takes a little longer now. So
it's a lot harder than it used to be. But I was still able to build 3 sets of bunk beds.
So we now have 6 new bed spaces. Not all of them are being used because this little guy sleeps with us right now, so he doesn't have his own bed.
We keep him close. We should do a video of the bunk beds because multiple people have asked how we built them, and I would say inexpensively is the way to say that we built them.
Yeah.
I don't do finish carpentry. I like to build stuff,
chunky,
structural things. I'm not real big on trim work. I mean, I try to make it look good, but I used to have a business partner that was really good with all the minute, fine, tiny little details. I'm really good at building big stuff. She's cleaning out his toes.
I'm not cleaning out his toes.
On a live stream.
I'm looking at his toe because I realized it's baby skin, and you know, baby toes, and they just have little intricacies. And he had an infection in his toe a couple months ago.
2 months ago?
That has cleared up. But I always, if I think about it and I see his toe, I just check to make sure that nothing else is there. Because I don't know if you know right now, but nobody wants to end up in a doctor's office. Not that we usually do, but especially right now, don't want to end up in a doctor's office.
Right.
So, okay, so we had someone else join us. I think we've given enough time for people too. Maybe we don't have a lot of people. It is a beautiful day today, and if people are out enjoying the sunshine instead of watching us, then that is awesome. I don't know where you guys are, but if you're going to turn us off and go play with your family outside,
please do.
So
I've already done a little video. Samuel and I, we have about 2.5 acres of property here. And Samuel, who's 10, Samuel and I went out this morning and walked the boundary of the property. And we showed you all the little woods and all the nooks and crannies and the pond and the stream and all the kind of cool stuff. And we even found a fun place that we might develop to play out in the woods later. Probably not today, but But Samuel and I found a cool spot anyway.
While we're on live, I'm just going to tell Mark something I could tell him. We have
Hey.
a friend who has asked that if we find any frog eggs in our pond, they would like some frog eggs.
The pond that was dry last Saturday when we did this live stream, the pond, Samuel and I had walked across it, walked all the way around through it. There wasn't a speck of water in there. We had a day and a half of rain, and that was 2 days ago? Yesterday and the day before. And now there's probably 4 feet deep of water. So our pond is back, and I haven't seen any frog eggs, but I will go look at
There were ducks in it this morning.
it. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't. We hear. I don't know if you guys all have them because I don't know if they're all over the country. But here in Maine, we have something called peepers, which are little frogs that you hear in the springtime, and they're really loud and it's beautiful. And we have those around us, but I don't know if those are something that are common everywhere or not.
I know the tree frogs, when we were in Tennessee in January and February, we stopped in Tennessee on the way south and on the way north. And our friends had tree frogs there, and they were really loud. They were probably
Just like
5
you.
times louder than our peepers down there in the swamp, in the bog area. But not as loud as he can be when he gets loud.
So, yeah. So what were we saying about that before the? Oh, they did a video today.
Yes.
Walked around. So if you guys go outside with your families today instead of watching us, totally cool.
Definitely.
We were outside together as a family, and then I guess they were outside while I took a nap.
We were outside for a little bit. I tried to set up the computer so we could do this live stream outdoors since it was so beautiful and gorgeous and sunshiny. But it's also the wind's blowing 15 to 20 miles an hour. So with the wind blowing today, we decided to do it inside.
For some reason, our property is really, really windy all the time. It just has to do with how the wind pattern hits in this area. But our property can be windy when nowhere else around us is. So
yeah, and we're a quarter mile from the bay that leads out into the St. George River, out in the ocean. So I mean, we're very close to. Oh, awesome! We finally upgraded this. This is a 2010 MacBook that we got for $100. And I had bought it from a friend, and he just said, well, it's an old computer, it might not work very well. And I told him the other day, we're having some problems, and he put in a new solid-state drive, and he put in, I can't remember what else he did to it. Did some other stuff to it, and we found that this thing is quite a bit faster. One problem we're having, though, is trying to do the live streams. We want to schedule them in advance so people can know, and we can send out reminders. And we're not able to do that on this Mac because every piece of software we found to do live streaming on Macs only works with OS Sierra, 11 and higher. Well, we're on OS 10, so we're not able to live stream to do that way. But we can still use the camera and live stream this way. We just can't do the advanced notifications. So I'm glad to hear that the video and the audio is working better than it was last week. So even though it's a 10-year-old computer, it still works really, really well, and I like it.
I can't tell if I should do the glasses or not do the glasses.
Do you need them to see?
No.
Do you need to see anything? Who needs to see anything, right?
So my vision isn't terrible. If I do this, I can see the screen and everything fine. Here, I think Mark and I are on the screen. It's about as good as I get.
Well, you look good to me.
So I'll just look like this. And I don't know if there's anyone else, but I can close my one eye and look through the other, but I cannot close this eye and have this eye open. Can't do it.
You can't do the eyebrow thing either.
I can't do the eyebrow thing.
There's all kinds of things you didn't know about us, that you didn't want to know about us, that we're going to tell you.
Okay, so today's theme. We are going to talk about how our family is unique that we did a couple weeks ago. Mark just turned off the list. There we go.
She doesn't like when I say, how weird are we? So
right.
We're going to do how we're unique.
Unique's a better word. Yeah. So one of the ways that we are unique is our family integration. We do everything as a family. People think we are very strange. And it's not that we're the only people that do this, but I haven't met many families that do this.
Right.
So,
and it's things like we eat every meal together. I've talked to many people that say we try to eat one meal a day together. And even when I was working in the hospital and when I was working as a nurse, a CNA, I don't even know what that is anymore.
Certified nurse. Nursing assistant.
Assistant, that's what it was. A nurse's assistant, yeah. So even when I was working back then,
The meals you were home, we ate together.
yeah, if I was home, we ate together, and I was home, I worked 3 12-hour shifts generally. So what's that, 16, 17 meals a week together, things like that. But yeah, whenever I wasn't working, we all had meals together, and everybody always eats meals together here.
And I've always been one
Just the way we
who,
are.
even when Mark was working, I would sit down with the kids. I mean, it was very few and far between that I would not be eating with the kids, even if I ate something different. Because, like, if people have known us for a while, during my pregnancies, I deal with gestational diabetes for the last 2. So sometimes I eat a different meal than the kids. But we usually like sit down, even with like intermittent fasting, normally sitting at the table together, even while people who aren't eating are still there.
So even a lot of mornings we don't eat breakfast. The kids will eat breakfast, but Sarah and I will wait till 9, 10, 11, whatever.
And we have had someone ask about a video. I should do that, but it's been a little crazy with all the stuff going on here recently with the building.
There's been a lot of requests as well. The more people watch, the more people want to know different things. So we're going to do a video on intermittent fasting, maybe gestational diabetes we covered in there.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But we sit down together
Yeah.
and we use the time while we're sitting at the table to catch up with each other about things. But because we're always, which we'll explain, because we're always so together, we don't have a lot of unique stories to share as family because we all do it together. So we're there when the conversation happens and there's no passing on details about that.
Right.
But we use the time a lot of times for schoolwork. And so right now, during breakfast time, we go over the kids' catechisms and we practice Bible verses. So like this past week, the 2-year, I was focusing because we're restarting it and I'm trying to judge where everybody is on what they know. We're like testing them. But this week, the 2-year-old, 5-year-old, and 7-year-old each learned a new Bible verse just from practicing it every morning at breakfast. Separate Bible verses. So of course, then the littler ones are hearing the ones that the older kids have memorized, and it just helps them when they come to memorize those. At supper time, we do bedtime math together, which is online, and I haven't found things in it that I disagree with, but you know, every family's different, so you gotta check it out. But they have a daily math question, and so it'll be something like the other day they had a picture of a little groundhog eating a piece of pizza, and so there were questions of like, for the, you know, it goes for different ages. So there's wee kids, little kids, big kids. So the wee kids have 1 question. The little kids have 2 questions. The big kids have 2 questions. And then there's sometimes a sky's the limit. So it's a harder one. And so like the wee kids question is, you know, this pizza was a square piece of pizza. How many sides are in a square? If he ate 3 pieces of pizza, out of an 8-piece pizza, how many pieces are left would be a wee kids question. A big kids question would be, I forget what the big kids question was that day, but you know, they'll have different questions on like Virginia's does not like when her questions are combination questions. So like, you know, we're talking about clothing and someone has a red shirt and a green shirt and a blue shirt and they've got a yellow pair of pants and a red pair of pants and a green pair of pants. How many combinations could you wear those clothes? Those are not Virginia's favorite kinds of questions. But we have
Because she wears
a whiteboard
and white and black.
We have a whiteboard in behind us where you see the doorway. It's just to the other side of like on the wall next to the doorway. And then we also have the window right here that has the paint on the backside. So we can use both of those as whiteboards. And so the kids, if they don't know the answers, will get up and use a marker. And it gives us a good chance to introduce them to a new math concept they may not know. And so I think the baby's just being loud.
Yeah, he's just
and so you can hear, you can teach them math concepts in a non-confrontational way because we just look at it, hey, you guys haven't learned this yet. And Daddy's a math guy, so he usually is the one who gets up and he'll show them how to work through the problem. So that's something we do. Oh, we also went through, there's a course called English from the Roots Up, I think is the name of it.
Yes.
And we got their flashcards, which teach you a Greek or Latin base word. So like the word
phobos, like phobia.
And so that it shows you some words. Yeah, it means fear. And then it shows you some words in our language. Sorry, I've got the hiccup. That have that in the word, have that root word in the root. in the Word. And so we were using it. We just do 1 or 2 cards in a meal, and it would give us something to talk about. So different ways that we use the mealtime to talk. Sometimes it's a Facebook, like a news story or something Mark and I have seen that we'll talk about and, talk about real world happenings.
Or an article we read. We get a couple of different magazines. We get Creation Magazine from CMI. We get Acts and Facts from ICR. We get different magazines. When we read an article or we watch something or something's going on, we just try to talk about it with the kids, what's going on in the world, and just to discuss it amongst ourselves.
Highly recommend Acts and Facts. It's a free magazine. You get once a month.
Once a month.
Once a month. Or is it once every 2 months?
No,
it's once.
Acts and Facts is once a month.
Okay. So anyway,
Answers
it's not very long. Like if you've ever seen the Answers in Genesis magazine, those are longer. But the Acts and Facts doesn't have ads in it, and it's just 1 to 3 page science articles, and they can be very deep science articles, but some of them aren't super deep and can just be read to the kids and they can get something out of them. But they're free and they're really, really good. They also have something called Days of Praise, which is a free little booklet of devotionals.
Yeah, those are like 3 months at a time. It's like Our Daily Bread, like a small...
little deeper theology though than Our Daily Bread.
Definitely deeper theology than Our Daily Bread, but good stuff.
Yeah. So those are both good. Those are from
focusing
ICR.
on God as the creator, definitely. So those are good resources.
So anyway, so we do meals together as a family.
That's what we were talking about? We were talking about eating meals together.
So we do meals together. Every day we do Bible together, even when Mark was working. I know our family looks a little different because Mark doesn't currently work outside the home because of his neurological issue. But even when he was working, we would do Bible together for about an hour, hour and a half a day. And what we do is we sit down as a family. I help the little ones say a verse. So, I'll say, for God so loved, and they'll say, for God so loved, and we go through the verse. And then after we've read the entire chapter, sometimes we'll read a second chapter if the story is all one story. Like we read about Balaam.
Yeah, Balaam and Balak in Numbers 22 and 23. So it's like 2 chapters, but it's kind of the whole story together.
Yeah, we read the first chapter, which was about him and his donkey. And then we read the next 2 chapters together the next day, which were about the 3 blessings
there, where they wanted,
that he put on.
Where Balak wants Balaam to come and curse the Israelites, but he won't do it. So he just takes him someplace else, and then he's like, hey, will you curse him here? He said, no, that's not going to work. How about here? No,
so
that's not going to work.
Usually 1 chapter, but sometimes 2. And we have the little ones read, and then starting with the littlest one, we say, so what did you hear today? What did you learn today? And the 2-year-old, his recent answer is he heard people of Israel, because we're reading through Numbers and it's written and everything. Sometimes he can tell you a little more of what he heard, but like today, we read a whole bunch of names as they were doing a census. So all he heard was people of Israel.
With the census in Numbers 25, if you want to get good at I can't even pronounce the word, pronouncing Hebrew names in the Old Testament, that's a really good test case there.
So we go through that and let the littlest start and go up. And by the time we usually get to about the 13-year-old, so the 2, the 5, the 7, the 10-year-old, make everybody sit and listen. And about the time we get to the 13-year-old and there's actual like more discussion and more questions going on, I let the little ones do something quiet in the room. So they might do puzzles,
or
color, something quiet where they're still sitting and they're still hearing what's going on, but they don't have to sit still for the entire hour.
It is interesting how much they pick up, though, because I will be sitting there looking with my Bible open, and I'll forget what I was going to say 3 seconds ago. And I'm thinking, if I'm not just staring at my Bible and doing nothing else, then I'm not paying attention. But always, Uriah, who's 2, will be sitting on the floor coloring a picture, and you'll say something, and he'll respond to it, and he remembers it days later. So even when they're not, when I don't think they're paying attention, they're totally paying attention.
Some people need that, and that took Mark a while to realize. Mark's not able to focus if he's not like totally focused on you. I'm not that way, and Mark didn't quite understand it. But now we have at least 1 child with ADHD, and they don't really listen if they're sitting there focused at you, because their little brain is thinking, I need to sit still, I need to sit still, I need to sit still. And they're not comprehending anything that's going in. Where if they're doing something with their hands, right now, Naomi's really into origami. And if she's doing that with her hands, she learns 3 or 4 times as much as she does
Mhm.
when instead of just sitting there thinking, I need to sit still. I need to sit still.
I think I came to realize that she was different when she was, I don't know, 4 or 5, when she started to read anyway. She was holding onto a paperback book, sitting in the office chair with her legs through the arms, hanging upside down, spinning around in circles, reading the book with perfect comprehension.
Mark can't do that.
I can't do that. I can't even spin in an office chair without throwing up, let alone upside down with a book. So, yeah, so kids are different. They're unique. It's interesting to see how much they can learn when it feels like they're not paying attention. They sit with us at church as well, and we've often taken pictures where we sit in the back row. There's like a couple feet. It's like a walkway, so it's up against the back wall at church. And so there's a couple of feet, 3, 4 feet even on the floor. And the kids they're laying on the floor, but they're drawing pictures of the things that they're hearing.
Mhm.
And they're writing words that they've heard, and they're finding things in their Bibles and all kinds of cool stuff. But they're paying attention. They really are getting it.
Yeah. So that's another thing we do that a lot of churches don't practice is family integration within the churches. We take the kids into adult Sunday school class with us and expect them to sit and pay attention. The little kids have a little purse, just because that's the bag that I had, that's filled with just some quiet activities. So there's a couple little board books, there's a couple little animals, but you have to look for your child to see if they'll sit still with whatever the item is that they have. There's cards. My mom works in the operating room, and she gets these cards that are used for a testing process. They're totally sterile. They never see nothing gross, but they just get put in a bin at work. And so she brings them home. There's a lot of those types of things.
So quiet
Also, your
things.
local hospital, our local hospital gives away ice packs because they come in all their supply kits.
Yeah, the pharmacy, anything that comes refrigerated comes in a sterile package. And so they will give away the big, the ice packs. They're about as big as your head. I realize they can't do that without strangling.
So
And that's not nice.
yeah. So anyway,
Those are cool.
so we have these cards that we have, and the kids will draw on those, and sometimes they'll draw a picture for somebody there in the church. Another thing,
I don't suggest bringing cars to church, especially
our
with
kids,
especially with little boys. Oftentimes we've gone to church and somebody's like, "Yeah, we've got a bag of quiet toys," and there's these little monster trucks, and they're smashing them together and making
Not so
all
quiet.
and they're flying pieces off the
another thing that our 2-year-old really likes is clothespins and popsicle sticks. He likes to put the clothespins on the popsicle stick. It's a really good fine motor skill, and he enjoys it. Keeps him very quiet. So
popsicle sticks and clothespins. Who'd have thought?
So anyway, but they go to Sunday school with us,
Mhm.
and then they sit in the church service with us also. We sing songs during our worship time at home,
Mhm.
so they know most of the songs that we sing. Our kids really like music, so they enjoy watching the person at our church. There's someone who plays a cajon, which is a drum, and someone who plays a guitar, and so the kids like to watch those. Our pastor actually plays the guitar. Our friends are kids. Our friends.
Hi.
You're fine. Our kids are friends with the piano player. They love going to see Diane. So that is because we made relationships at church too. The kids really enjoy going to church and seeing those people.
Mhm.
So they sit in church with us. They don't go off to junior church. And it's amazing how much they learn from the sermon, especially if you come home and then discuss it during lunchtime. It's just one more step of them learning what's being said. And our pastor's not doing it right now because of the whole quarantine thing that's going on and everything, but he had been going through a section of the Bible, not usually a whole book, but he'd do a different
There's a series
topic,
on Proverbs. There's a series on Titus. We didn't go all the way through Titus
yeah,
because it's really short.
but sometimes you didn't go through a whole thing, but we'd like Romans. I think we went through chapter 8 or
It's
something.
1 through 8. Yeah.
But we knew what to expect the next week, so it was something we could look forward to with the kids. Like we could have them know what they were looking for and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and if your church has a bulletin, if you pre-print at least the scripture readings in advance or something like that, you can read those passages at home to your family and talk about them a little bit and just introduce them to the names and the people and the places. and what's
Maybe
going on.
ask your pastor or church secretary if they would send you those things, because like the songs are picked before Sunday morning. So if they sent you the songs, you guys could practice them as a family, that type of thing.
In most churches.
A way to integrate your family into worship. And so we go shopping as a family. We use that time as a time to minister to people in our community. We have some favorite people who work at Walmart. We love you guys. We actually saw both of them recently, social distancing, but they stopped by and we were able to visit with one day and one another day.
They were delivering goodies for their cows.
Yes. So
they're very sweet ladies.
They love our
care
kids.
of us, yeah.
I hope they love us too, but I know they love our kids. And
no, I think they like you.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
we really enjoy Laura and Heidi, and so we're very excited to see them. But we make relationships with people at the stores, and I'm actually headed out to a store that I have not gone shopping in since this whole thing started.
You haven't been to the store in like 7 weeks.
No, we've done just Walmart pickup, and my mom had picked up a couple things for us. So I'm going to head out to one of the stores that we used to frequent a lot, and I know that every person's going to be like, "Where are the kids? Where are the kids?" Even though kids aren't supposed to be in the store right now, that's what they're going to say, because anytime I happen to go into the store without the kids, because it happens so rarely, I get questioned. Where are the children? What are they doing today? Why aren't they here with you?
And everybody knows their names. It's not just the children. They know their names. They know what they like. They remember what they talked about.
Yeah. And we have a large family. So I'll go in sometimes without a child, and people will be like, well, where's Virginia? Or where's Naomi? And like, they know one's missing. It's not just like, oh, that big group of kids over there. Like they know we're missing somebody.
Yeah.
So those times happen that sometimes our doctor's office is about 25 minutes from here.
Yeah.
And the store is about 15 minutes from here in the middle. So if we're doing like a doctor's appointment or a therapy session, sometimes I'll stop with just one or a few kiddos during that. So,
which are nice times. I mean, there's times that those things do happen.
Yes.
Like when you take.
I thought I saw car, but it wasn't.
When you take Josiah and Abigail to Josiah's therapy, the two of them are hilarious in the van. Like,
we hear all kinds of stories. They tell me, oh, it was positive. Okay, there we go. So they.
I didn't pause anything.
No, something went for a second. So anyway, they're fun to talk to. It is fun to just sit down and talk to your kids. I don't know if you guys saw the video I posted yesterday about the kids telling me about Noah's Ark. It was hilarious. If you haven't seen that, you should go watch it. Do it with your kids, because it's really funny to see what they think.
What parts of the stories they heard or misheard. They heard a word that they thought they didn't know.
Yeah, so it's fun.
How many animals did Noah have on the ark? You find out watching that video, because it's hilarious.
So so that's another way. And we also, when we get together with people, we tend to keep our kids with us. There's a few different reasons for that, but it's just good for kids to be able to talk to people of all ages.
Yes.
And to actually have those conversations. We, social distancing, went and sang to a couple of the elderly people in our church the other day.
Yeah.
And our kids were all able to have conversations with those people. They don't just have conversations with kids their own age.
No, they'll talk to the little kids, and they'll talk to the teenagers, and they'll talk to the young adults, and they'll talk to the elderly and everybody in between.
Yeah.
They just love people. They like talking to people, and they built relationships with the widows in the church, and the families in the church, and the single people, and like, yeah. We just kind of do everything together.
So we do everything together. There are a few families that our kids get a little more leeway of spending time with the kids. But also putting too many kids in a room without anyone in charge.
Disaster.
Can be, I'm not saying it's other people's kids. My kids can be just as guilty of it as anyone else. But there's a reason that God gave kids parents and direction, and certain families, kids meld better and have more self-control with certain people than with other people. And so that's how it is.
Yeah.
I think it's true for adults too. How many times do you have that one friend you get together with and you always feel built up and you've had really good gospel-centered conversations during that time? And then how many other friends do you get together with and you talk about everything but God?
Yeah.
And you just go along with I'm not even saying like obscene jokes or anything, but you just go along with the conversation, and even more so for kiddos. Does anyone see that baby? He's so cute. I don't know babies. He's like, what's going on? So those are ways that we family integrate.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to that?
Oh, I probably got something in there, but it's still bouncing around. I can't find its way out.
Okay, so another way we're a little unique is when we travel for vacation. You guys have seen some of my videos of how we save money on vacation and things, and we travel a little differently than regular people. I don't know how to say it.
Because we're unique.
We're
Not weird.
We buy
unique.
like all of our food to go on vacation, or then go to the grocery store while we're on vacation. But we very rarely go out to eat. I think we mentioned this last week.
3 times in 44 days.
Yeah, we don't. We go on vacation and spend about as much money as we'd be spending if we were home. We try to make vacation something that is attainable for our family, and also to help the children stay content. I mean, we want to be able to go see these friends that we saw on vacation, and there's a part of that you can't stop from happening.
Right.
But we're not going off to Disney World, where then nothing compares to that thrill.
Yeah, I think there's an expectation that, we can't afford to go on vacation because vacation is going to cost a large amount, especially if they have a lot of children, because admission prices and those kind of things. We have a camper that we paid $3,500 for, and we've already spent 60 or 70 nights in it, and that was less than a year ago that we bought that. So we've spent quite a few nights in it. We've traveled quite a bit in it. Our bathroom is with us. Our food is with us. Our books are with us. Pretty much everything can travel with us. So when we go someplace, we can go, let's say we could go to Knoxville, Tennessee region, and we can see a bunch of Christians there and awesome families there, and we can enjoy fellowship, and we can provide a meal for someone, or maybe they provide a meal for us, or maybe we do something together. But you did a video actually when we were in Knoxville on the way home, and it was like 30, 35 of us. I don't know. It was like, there was like 700 people in this house. The kids were playing bird bingo, and they were playing outside.
Actually just 3 families at the time that I videotaped.
So it's only like 30 people.
Yeah, they were large families, but there were only 3 families there at the time I videotaped.
That's funny.
It was before social distancing, which is good because we would not have been able to social distance in that house.
But we were able to enjoy time together, and we went for walks, and we went and played with the baby goats, and the kids played in the playground, and we sat and talked about homeschooling. We talked about the Bible. We talked about 1,001 things, but we really enjoyed our time together, and it wasn't expensive, and it wasn't stressful. And for for those 3 large families to go out to a restaurant and eat, one, good luck finding a restaurant that has seating for 30 without calling pretty far in advance. And then you would have spent a lot of money.
And the children, because while we ate, different children were napping, different children were playing instead of eating because of how meals were running time-wise and everything. It's hard when you take kids out to a restaurant.
Or us men were sitting out on the porch for 3 hours talking about all kinds of biblical things and really encouraging each other and building each other up. And so that's our expectation. When we go on a vacation, we're thinking, I want to go out and meet Christians and encourage them, see what they've been learning and see what I can learn from them, watch families that have already raised children, have children that are grown, that they've been married for 30, 40, 50 years.
Sit in the trenches with those that are at the same stage as us while we, talk about how do you do the potty training, how do you do the homeschooling, that type of thing.
And try to encourage those who just, have a couple of young kids at home. Try to be encouraging to them. I see one of them. Hi.
Hi, guys.
So to us, that's the big thrill, is getting to go talk to people, because we just love people, which is making the social distancing thing so much harder.
I want to go hug everybody.
Yeah, I want to go hug random strangers. It's weird. Like when you take something away from someone, you're like, you can eat anything you want to, just don't eat from that tree in the center of the garden. And you know how that turned out. Like, okay, I all of a sudden don't care about any of those other things, and I want that one thing I can't have. But this is a good thing. We're not missing something sinful. We're not missing something God told us not to. We love people. We love Christians.
We're really excited for Christian fellowship.
Yeah.
We can get back with people.
But
anyway, God's blessed us with a lot that we, are able to keep up with people on Facebook and stuff like that. So we also combine our vacation trips with ministry trips. So we want to be able to be with other Christians, which on this trip, it was great. We were able to see Mark's physical family, some of Mark's physical family while we were out, but also got to see a lot of brothers and sisters in Christ while we were on vacation and meet some new ones that are now lifelong friends. And so it's just, it was a great great experience. But we also combine it with ministry opportunities. So we were planning on doing a lot more ministry while we were out, but then Naomi broke her collarbone and that hindered it because we had to spend a couple days with her laying flat on her back to try to get to try to get the bone back to the best possible way.
Right.
But we were able to, these guys went out one day with people from, don't live in Florida, but people that were in Florida at the time. They went out to a campus and were able to do tracks and had a long talk with a professor there on
campus.
It
was about an hour and a half, maybe. Virginia and I were talking to, I think he's a professor there, pursuing something like that. I can't remember. He was a very intellectual type who really wanted to look at the Bible and find problems with it and why we shouldn't believe it. And so Virginia and I are fairly well versed in those things. And we sat down and had a good, honest conversation. We're willing to admit the difficulties that we have and the things we accept by faith, but also to know what the Bible says. So it was really good to be able to go out to a college university and just listen to what other people have to say and compare that with what the Bible says, and then try to encourage them to see that God has spoken in his word and he's been clear. And
that was something we were all going to go do, but because of Naomi broke her collarbone like 2 days before that. So we stayed home. The kids and I stayed home to visit with some other Christian people.
But one day the whole family did go back out to
and the kids handed out tracts and had a great time.
Our kids love passing out gospel tracts. And you know what? When you've got cute little Abigail with a little pigtails and the whole 9 yards, and she's like, "You want one of these?" They always say yes.
It's funny. Sometimes you'll see somebody say no, and one of the friends will be like, "No, you need to take one from her. You're going to make her upset if you don't." It's so cute. So they get in people's hands.
Yeah.
And last year when we were in Florida, we were able to go out to an abortion mill that was down there. Because of Mark's neurological issues and just Virginia being new at driving in the city and stuff, there were certain things that we didn't feel comfortable sending her and Mark out in case Mark were to have troubles and things. We usually go as a family to do all those
things. Because I'm fine
things.
most of the time, but if I'm not fine, I'm a 300-pound, 6'5" person that needs to be stuffed in a wheelchair. And that's harder to do. So we tend to not do a whole lot of things in large crowds and stressful situations with just me, because it's not the smartest thing.
So, but we use the time to try to encourage other people and get together with ministries. The trip, not this year, but the year before that, we were able to do ministry at 3 different abortion mills while we were out. Oh, I forgot. You guys did down in Tennessee. You guys went to the abortion mill too.
Oh, this year, yeah.
Yeah, this year.
Yep.
I stayed home to do laundry because laundry really had to be done.
And we
had some little people, and I wasn't sure how it was set up.
We went with 2 other families that were from that area. Their local church has a regular ministry there. So we went with them to see what was going on there. And
but yeah, able to do that.
What you looking for?
The baby needs a mommy.
Here comes the baby.
The baby needs a mommy. So that's another unique way. Okay, so evangelism. Sorry, I'm reading Mark's list, or trying to read Mark's list.
You took your glasses off. I'm trying to read my list.
Can I have something from Shalom with this little play right there? Okay, another one is evangelism through hospitality. We like to have people into our home when we can. Not breaking the social distancing rules for this, just letting you know. We like to have people in that we can minister to them, whether it be another family, like we've talked about, someone who's older than us that can minister to us, or a younger family that we can minister to them.
We've had single men over to our home for meals. We've had single young ladies. We've had young couples.
Yeah, and different times in our lives have brought different things. We've had times where I've had more time to minister to young women in the church. We actually have had time to minister. Sorry.
Yeah, shush.
To a young lady in our local church who's getting married very, very soon, sometime soon. And so that's been a real blessing to be able to be a part of her life. And she's been a blessing to ours, and we've hopefully been a blessing to hers. So what else? Like we have other people. It just depends on who God's put in our life in that season.
Yeah, there's some Mormon missionaries that we've invited over that we've had good sit-down discussion. We sit around and talk about the Bible with them. We don't talk much about the Bible.
This is one that we are not family integrated. In the littles and I go do something else, usually Bible-based. while they're talking to them, so that the kids don't get skewed views of who God is, because the Mormons teach us different God.
Right. But Virginia and I are able to sit down and talk with them. But we'll all have a meal together. Yeah,
Naomi part of the conversation.
So we'll all sit and have a meal together and sit and talk. But I mean, oftentimes we just want to invite people, not like, hey, these people probably aren't Christians. I think we need to tackle them. But we love people, whether it's neighbors or people from Walmart or
people with
from
little kiddos like this age.
Yeah. A lot of times people just love, they want to know, how do you guys survive with all those kids? And people, need to see the dynamic that, one, our children are not perfect. We're not perfect. Things happen in our house. People notice the nose picking on that Noah's Ark video thing. Like, at least a couple people have probably noticed that there was a finger in a nose that slipped quickly to the mouth with one of our children. We won't name names.
But it happens.
It's reality.
Homeschooling, my kids aren't usually allowed on the table. Do they get on the table occasionally? Yes. And then we have to tell them, no, that's not what we do. So yeah, things happen. And it's real life. That's what we're hoping these videos, I mean, of course, this is a live video right now, but we're hoping you get that same sense when we're doing our other videos. Like,
what our friend said the other day.
Yeah, she was saying that she was listening to our video and she responded to something I said and realized that I was on a video. And that's what I want our videos to be. I want our videos to be me mentoring as if you're sitting in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Us interacting. I want to interact with people, but a lot of you guys live other parts of the country, and a lot of people are too busy. Or other countries. And a lot of people, it's just a busy time. Being a mom with lots of little kids and trying to get people out of the house. I know someone watching has little kiddos in the house, and you don't live close, so you couldn't get near us. But anyway, just being able to encourage people. Hey, my mom just pulled in. For those who don't know, my mom lives in a little house in the backyard, so we just watched her pull in.
Yep.
And
I wonder if she got a flower for us.
Yeah, she was going to try to go flower is something that is not around here right now. So she was going to be in a different town. She's going to go look for it. So anyway.
I'm going to take him up because he's being loud.
Yeah, he is being loud. Sorry.
Give me a loud raising.
Sorry, loud person. Mark might be back. But that's what we want these videos to be real life, and you guys to not see a a picture perfect, like, what you'd see someone putting on their Pinterest board of what their family looks like. We want you guys to see really what our family is like, and just be able to see our challenges, see our struggles, and just see how God, uses that. Mark's reading the comments. So just see how God is working in our lives, and hopefully that'll be an encouragement to you, and hopefully you guys can write and encourage us through those things that God's doing for you. So it can be hard for that comment from Amy. It can be hard being a mom with lots of kids, living different than the world, because sometimes we do feel crazy. Because I know that God has said children are a blessing, and I know my children are. But there are those days that it's like, I have changed wet pants 4 times today. Whether I have.
We are right in the middle.
We have a child. We have a child who's taking a nap right now. But I've changed 2 pairs of pants because of potty accidents, and 2 pairs of pants because of falling in the mud. That's how today's going. So.
But they had fun in the mud.
They did. He didn't have fun in the mud. Both times he fell in the mud. Oh,
that's true. He didn't have fun in the mud. Well, Josiah ran through the puddle, the one puddle in that. We have a half-acre front yard. There's a little puddle about this big. Josiah found it. But it's okay.
So, but it can make you feel crazy because, yes, they are a blessing. And I can sit at the end of the day and think, wow, look at all these blessings God has given us. Look at how good this thing is. Look how much this one's learning. But in the midst of it, it's like, you just peed your pants again. Really, I just asked you if you had to go potty 2 minutes ago. And then you peed all over the floor. And you can feel, it can be a struggle. It's not saying that those children aren't a blessing, and it's not saying that you don't believe God's doing what's best for you. But it is a time that God is using to improve your patience, to improve your self-control. We're reading a book. I've mentioned this on a couple videos, but Pitch in a Fit by Brooke and Israel Wayne. They tell real life stories about dealing with anger and how God. So anger isn't just rage and it's the minor frustrations and letting those things get to you. And it's not that patience is, we're never going to be perfect with our patience, but just realizing that God is using every one of these situations every day to make us more into his image.
Yeah, I think patience is definitely a theme from that book that we read, that chapter about patience. And I was like, yeah, patience. I don't waiting for things. Like I can just sit here and act like I don't care about the thing and wait for it. That's not really patience. And so they did a very good job of explaining that being content in the situation you're in and not just sitting around staring at the clock waiting for it to change. There's so many times that in the last 6-7 weeks that we're like, I just want this to be over with. This is supposed to be like a 14-day slow things down thing. And here we are 49 days later, I think it was, 48 days, whatever it is. Are we being patient? Are we saying, well, God's given us many opportunities to spend more time on our YouTube channel, to be an encouragement to people that we hadn't met before. And maybe we can bless somebody in a different way because they're also dealing with the same struggles. And do we see it as an opportunity to find a new venue for ministry? Because this is something we're talking about. We do a lot of open air ministry. We go to abortion clinics. We go out on the street corner. We go to public
all
events
of those things
and
have
talk to people. We invite people into our home. All of those things are canceled. And the one that we had in July, canceled. The one we had in August, canceled. They're already gone. They're not going to redo these events.
And I think we can really work at, okay, so when May 1st comes,
right,
and the governor says this, we can do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not wrong to plan ahead, but if you can't do what God is having you to do because you're waiting for that next event, it's wrong.
Right.
Because God changes things. Like when we got married, Mark was starting to deal with these issues that he's dealing with. And if we just waited around until Mark got healthy, that would have taken a year when we first got married. If right now we wait around until Josiah's better and isn't having seizures anymore to do something, it might never happen because Josiah's having more seizures.
Mm-hmm.
For those who've been praying for us, we have a chance to up his medicine and maybe that will help. So we're going to see how that goes. But if we're always waiting till things are perfect, we're never going to be able to do it. It's like waiting to have kids until you're financially ready.
Never met anybody who actually waited until they were financially ready to have children. They were, put it off 5 years, but you're still not. We all live kind of according to what we have, and if we have more money, we tend to buy more stuff or go into more debt. And contentment is like we've been out of debt now 11 years. Last week, whatever it was, and part of that contentment is not looking for what other people have and not looking for what we think we deserve, or even saying, hey, you know what, next January, we want to go back to Florida. We want to go back to Tennessee. We want to go back and do these things that we've done. But right now, I don't want to spend all my time just thinking about the future because right now we have opportunities. And like Virginia and I were talking about this yesterday at length. We would like to do certain ministries that cannot happen currently in our state by law. By the governor's order, we cannot go do these ministries. And if we were to attempt to go, nobody would be there to talk to anyway. So how do we, instead of saying, well, I can't do this and I'm upset about this, what can we do? Well, we can make more Facebook posts, share scriptures with people, private message people, call them on the phone. There's a lot of things that we do have because we're in the 21st century that we do have opportunity to talk to all of you that are listed on that column, all the people that are watching, the people that follow us on Instagram, people that follow us on Facebook, people that we've known for 30 years, and people that we just met yesterday. And we can invest in their lives for the glory of God through a lot of different things. And instead of sitting around saying, but I wish we could do this and I want to do this, just this is where we are right now. And we're going to do what we can do and hopefully enjoy it, not just muddle through, but actually enjoy it.
Yeah. So I guess that's our challenge to you today is find something that you're waiting for and see what you can be doing in that waiting. So we have a daughter who is 16, just about to be 17. She's graduating
going on
this month, right? It's May. Yeah.
Yes,
she's graduating this month. And she is watching two close friends get married in the next couple months. And God has not brought a guy for her yet. And that's okay. And so we keep reminding her, God has you in this season. And if you're just waiting until God has you start courting and then get married, you're going to be very A bird just like dive bombed on the porch. You're
I don't
going
see him. He must
to
have
be
survived.
very discontent staying in the family for however long God has that for you.
And that may be 18, 19, because we actually just found out this morning there's somebody that we've known about for years involved with a certain ministry that
Is just now getting
has
married.
been waiting to get married a long time.
And
I'll
she's
just leave it there.
40.
I think she's 37, 38.
So
Now, most people are not that old when they get married, but most people aren't 16 or 17 either.
Right.
Most, somewhere between 18, 19, 25 even.
but it's easy to see someone else's situation and feel discontent where we are. So we keep reminding her to see what God has for her now. Because while you're in that waiting, there's something you can be doing that's going to prepare you for that time in the future. So for Virginia, that is helping around the house, helping with the kids, doing those things. So she's prepared when she gets to married life. Maybe
memorizing. I mean, she's finished memorizing 18 books of the New Testament, and she's working on her 19th. You are not going to have the time to do that when you're a young mom.
No.
You get married, you're going to want to be with your husband. When you get a child on the way, you're not going to have hours to sit and read and remember your Bible. But you can remember the things that you learned years ago. So take this time of preparation.
So she's
and
using
ministry too.
Yeah, so she's using this time for ministry and Bible study and those things. And so just what can you be doing in this time that God has us at a wait, stand still, whatever that looks like for your family? What can you be doing to improve your walk with Him or furthering His kingdom? So let us know what those things are.
Yeah.
Think on them, pray on them. But
Yeah.
we had one more thing on our list today.
No, I don't know why I put this on here. It's just sometimes
okay.
I just throw stuff on here because it's an idea in my head. So the T-shirt I'm wearing says Jesus Christ is King. And on the back, it has Matthew chapter 28, verses 18 through 20, what's generally considered, referred to as the Great Commission.
And we originally made these because we were looking for some shirts that would help us stand out in public so that I can find people when we're out on the street.
Where's the kid? The red shirt with a giant Jesus Christ is King on the front. You can spot your kids.
It's easier to count everybody, and people know that we're together. So when we're out handing out tracts at a public event, people know we're together. People know they've already taken our tract. They're able
Virginia
to find us
may
if
be
they want to
across
ask
the
us
street.
questions.
Virginia and Naomi being teenagers, they're bigger. They may be passing out tracts across the street or even talking to somebody, having a conversation across the street. We can see them, they're safe and all that. But those people that they're talking to look across the street and they see Daddy and Mommy and some other people. And, it just helps people understand identification. The same reason everybody else on earth wears, uniforms or the same shirt when they go out in public. But these ones we've had for about 3 years, and we have 2 each, and they're wearing out a little. You see that they're starting to pick and fleck a little bit. And so we thought about maybe a new T-shirt idea. And this week, Samuel drew us a logo. I don't know if you saw the picture.
Our Hurting Little Cows logo.
Our Hurting Little Cows logo.
Uh-huh.
And we have scripture verses all over our van and those kind of things. So we like to start gospel conversations in public. And so we've been thinking about logos and T-shirts and, something like that. I don't know. Sometimes we just have fun too, because we just like doing stuff together. And the conversations that start when if you're walking through Walmart, going to get your groceries, and you're just wearing any old shirt, if you're wearing, like Sarah's wearing, people won't stop you and start talking to you. But if you wear this shirt walking through Sam's Club, the management will stop you and either, maybe they'll tell you other things. But
the management at our Sam's Club that we frequent most regularly does not mind us handing out gospel tracts.
Or even just when we're shopping, they'll look at the shirt and they'll walk up and start talking to you.
Yeah.
We had shirts years
We
ago.
don't go in and just start like, here's a tract, here's a tract,
No,
here's a
we're going
tract. But if
shopping.
we talk to people, we'll hand them a tract, and they have no problem with us doing that.
But years
Didn't
ago,
want you thinking we were just like leafleting the whole area, like, here, have trust.
But years ago, we had the orange shirts, and Sarah had stick drawn like a picture of our family that just said, "Children are a blessing from the Lord, the Cowboy family." Now it would say "Hurting Little Cows," I'm sure, because it's a brand. Anyway, it's so silly thinking about this.
It was funny that we came up with that name like in a split second and it stuck.
We were like late at night, and she's like, "I want to just teach people to cook and encourage them and build them up and talk to the young moms and just be a blessing to them." And I was like, "What are we going to call it?"
And I was like, Hurting Little Cows.
Hurting Little Cows. Unfortunately, YouTube, if you look down here, YouTube will get us half the time. when they transcribe it, if you don't put it in the auto-generated captions, for closed
Hurting.
captioning, will be hurting little cows, as if we're like injuring our bovine offspring. We're not. But so hurting little cows. So we might do like a Bible verse, or we might do. We oftentimes put a Bible verse on the back where people that are walking behind you that don't want to talk to you still get to read a Bible verse.
But if people are interested in shirts like this, we had our shirts made at a local place that's run by a Christian, and it ends up being like $12 a shirt, $15
I
a
think
shirt.
I have 2XLT, so that's a specialty size. Mine were 14, but the other ones are like 10 or 11.
Yeah. So if you get, you would have to talk to them, but if you get over 10 made or whatever it is, how their pricing works, it ends up not being much more than you'd spend for a shirt at a store or something.
Yeah.
So if you know of a local printing company, a Christian printing company, or even something you may find online, you can customize the shirt for whatever you'd want for your family. Our family on the back, it says our website, like our Facebook. And
So maybe
like
your church's name, or maybe your family's name, or maybe you own a business, you know, and you just want to promote your business. People do this stuff all the time.
I will suggest if you do your family's name, it's okay. Don't put your child's name on the shirt, because a lot of human traffickers will use that to call your child by name, and then your child thinks they're a friend and they'll go with them. So just it's a tip to keep your children safe.
It is a little harder because now that we have this YouTube channel and we talk to people, and there's a lot of people that are watching even today that are actually in our lives every day. And there are other people that haven't met us in person, or that we've met once or twice, and those kind of things. And people know our children's names. We do use them online. Some people don't. And maybe there's wisdom in that as well. But definitely, we don't put it on the shirts. I don't know. It's a hairy line to try to
also
define.
with our kids, we like we were saying, we're family integrated in a lot of things. I know that there was different precautions my parents took when I was a child who went to school, and because of my parents' jobs, both working as, my mom worked as a nurse, my dad worked as a firefighter, EMT dispatcher. So I occasionally had other people pick me up at school and stuff, and we had different rules because there were more people involved in our lives, and how my kids know that they wouldn't be going with somebody other than Daddy and I, because we don't leave them with other people. They wouldn't be picked up by somebody, but just word to the wise. So, yeah.
Is that all I had for today?
I think that's what we had.
It's been almost an hour.
That's what makes us unique
for
today.
So if you guys have any ideas for future videos or future live stream videos, we're always up for that. I do want to take just a minute to thank our Patreon supporters, because we have had this waffling back and forth that people like to bless us. People like to encourage. Some people do that by dropping off a loaf of
2 loaves of pumpkin bread this morning.
Pumpkin bread. Or somebody will.
Well, I think it's wonderful. I haven't eaten yet.
Yeah. Or people will say like, "Oh, I saw that you were shorted 1 sheet on your order," and they'll pick it up for you. And bring it down.
Our Walmart friend saw our video where I had said that we were missing our 1 sheet, and she got me that 1 sheet. It was so nice. She also brought me other treats.
So we don't want to ask for money. We don't want to ask, like, we are not in any way, shape, or form lacking in things. God has supplied all of our needs. We are not looking for things. But we are contacted on a regular basis of people asking, "Oh, how could I send you this thing? How could I support you? What could I do?" We do have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com.
Because PayPal was totally broken last week, and
Right.
that was the only time we needed it, and it was totally broken.
Yeah,
So.
somebody tried to send us something, and I actually had to refund it because there was no way that I could actually put it into our bank account. This gift that they tried to send. So that's not very helpful. So we're not asking people to send us something. But I'm saying thank you to those who have found our Patreon page and who are giving, because there's interesting little things that you can do to bless people. And I guess I'll just shut up now. You can talk about that more. How about that?
No, I was just going to say,
I just feel like I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
how you can bless people in your own lives. We had this family that this morning wrote to us and said, "Hey, can we drop off some pumpkin bread, because we just wanted to bless your family."
Yeah.
And it was a huge blessing to just think that somebody was thinking of us outside of seeing us. Like, I haven't talked to her in a little while, and she just happened to do that.
Yeah.
We drew some pictures and took them to some of the shut-ins from church with proper social distancing, but we stood and sang some songs to some of the shut-ins who aren't able to get out, and especially now they're not, even able to go.
Or send a card in the mail. There's so many, like, anything you can do. You
Phone
can send
call?
people an email, a phone call, message them, send them a scripture that you've been thinking about. Pray for them and see what God brings on your mind and on your heart to do for people.
Sometimes pray for them, and then after you've prayed for them, tell them you're praying for them.
Mhm.
Like, don't just tell someone you're praying for them if you're not.
Right.
Make sure we're honest. But I found so many times that God has laid somebody on my heart specifically to pray for, and there was some situation going on that I didn't know about. And I was praying at a time that they
wouldn't have shared, probably even. But to say, I knew you've been praying for me, and I just wanted you to know that knowing someone was praying for me was comforting as I went through this situation. So pray for others and get involved in their lives and be a blessing to them. So we're thankful for Pumpkin Bread and Patreon supporters and people that send cards and people that are friends at Walmart.
People that
stuff.
have sent. I've had a couple encouraging messages recently on here. So thank you.
We need each other. We really do need each other. And we need to reach out. We're trying to reach out more as well, to send people messages, send people emails to see what's going on in their lives. So please message us. Let us know if we can be praying for you.
Yeah, we pray every night as a family together. We try to remember as many requests as we can. And then up at night with the baby and stuff like that, I also do some extra praying. But just think of how you can reach out to people. We definitely, as brothers and sisters in Christ, need each other. God's made us to need each other. And in this time, we can't be together in the way that we normally are. So what is a way that you can reach out to those around you and encourage them? Whether it be another brother and sister in Christ who you could, share a scripture with, to share how God is working in your life, those types of things. Or maybe there's somebody who God's putting on your mind that isn't a Christian, that he's using you to, just share about him. Whether
Drink water.
Thank you. That's my drink water alarm. I'm bad at drinking water. But maybe there's a way that you can encourage someone who's not a Christian to just be able to show them the love of Christ and possibly be able to. Two people that contacted me this week are not Christians, and I didn't know them to be Christians. It was somebody that we had contacts outside of church and those types of things. And both of them, we were able to talk about God and what God's doing in this time of quarantine. And so it was good. They had seen things that I had said and felt comfortable opening up to me about what God's doing in their lives. So there we go.
That's good.
I think that's it.
So next week?
We're going to plan to do it next week.
We're going to be here next week, next Saturday.
We have nothing else to do. We'll be here every Saturday.
even if they let us out, we're still going to plan to do this every Saturday
but
at 2
our governor's
p.m.
not going to let us out, so it's okay. We'll be here for a while.
Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. That'll be our game plan. You can watch for us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Patreon. Where else are we?
Yeah, I don't know. I just
think
started
that's
Instagram this week. So excuse the pictures. I'm still trying to figure this thing out.
We don't have a lot of
I
time to spend on social media. We used to upload all of our videos to Facebook, and the interface that I had to use there took me longer. I'm good at putting them up on YouTube and then sharing them to Facebook. That's okay. But we've just found that the more I sit in front of a computer, the worse my brain does for the rest of the day. And it can be very debilitating. So we want to get the videos out. We want to encourage people, but it can be kind of hard. So I'm handling the Facebook, and generally YouTube comments, generally those come from me. She's going to handle the Instagram.
And if any of you are on Instagram, please find me, because I'm not really sure how to find people yet. I specifically got on it because I have one friend who doesn't Facebook, and I really wanted to see what was going on in her life and everything. So that's why I specifically got on it. But if you guys are on it, please friend me however you do that, because I haven't figured that out.
And Twitter, we technically have a Twitter account, but we almost never use it. We post links to like this video when on Twitter, but we don't interact with it. Something about having only a certain amount of letters.
Mark doesn't do well with that.
When they had 140 letter character cap, I wrote 140 characters every single time. I don't have that kind of time or brain power, so we'll continue to do Facebook. And YouTube are our major things. And she's enjoying Instagram because the friend that that isn't on Facebook, She is on Instagram, and it's nice seeing pictures of warmer places. And it's nice seeing pictures of their children and their family and just what they're
Large
doing.
family,
in their life.
homeschooling, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
So I don't know if she wants me sharing. Like, I try to be careful to not share people's names if I'm not sure what they want. But
Right.
she is talking about starting a YouTube page. So if she does, I'll ask her and I'll share her
Yes.
along. So
She has a lot to
Anyway,
offer people.
she
Very
does.
encouraging, sweet folks. So
so anyway, I guess that's it for today. And we will see you guys next Saturday.
next Saturday, watch for other videos during the week, but we'll be live next Saturday. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.